Hi, I'm Elliot, a writer, and I'm typing out The Great Gatsby. Why? Because that was something Hunter S Thompson did because he wanted to see what it would be like to write a masterpiece. Now that I have some time on my hands, I figured it would be a good opportunity to try it myself. So, join me every Saturday until I finish the whole novel. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Typing Out The Great Gatsby with me, Elliot. Another week. Actually, it's a little earlier this week. A lot has been happening with my own personal life, and I've mentioned before, this whole Typing Out The Great Gatsby project is something I'm trying to fit into my weekly activities, and some weeks are harder than others. Even during this whole quarantine, lockdown, the world is on fire situation that is happening, and even though I'm spending most of my time at home, there is still a lot of things that I have to deal with on the day-to-day that it's not like I could be typing out The Great Gatsby all day long. I've found that all it takes is for like another priority to be stacked on top of everything, and the little tower of productivity that you have built, it's really just a house of cards, and it could all crumble. These little projects we're working on, especially me, with all my many projects, has come to my realization that I might have to not do some of them. And obviously I'm committed to this, very committed. I've made it so far that I can't stop now. Can't stop now. So what I'm trying to do is just reschedule myself a little bit to fit it in wherever I can, and drop some of the other things. As you might have noticed, if you're a die-hard Elliot Chan YouTube fan, Chan fan, hashtag Chan fan, I was doing weekly videos on top of this one. I've made the very, very hard decision of cutting down on some of those. So it won't be weekly for the next little bit. Hopefully things will pick up. We'll get everything back in order, and we'll start seeing more of those. But for the moment, for the sake of my health and me actually trying to get the other things I need to do done, cutting back on that. Just an update on my end. Yes, very, very stressful. I'll let you guys know when things progress a little bit further. You might notice that the set will change at some point. Just a hint. Things are happening. We don't know. Anything could happen. Literally anything could happen these days. So let's not get too attached on anything. Let's be agile, which is what Fitzgerald is all about. Agility. It's actually two very different words, agility and agile. I think. Anyways, a lot to do today. No time to screw around. Let's start typing. One day I'll have like really cool graphics and effects and sound effects. Not this time around. Not this time around. It's a very low budget thing that I got going here at the Typing The Great Gatsby studio. Production is not there. One day we'll get some sweet money, sweet sponsorship money, and we'll have graphics then. For now, let's just work with what we have, which is me, this book, and some words on the page. It has come to my realization that we never really had an episode dedicated to talking about settings. What is up with that? I talked about all these other stupid things, evocative writing that I couldn't find, similes and metaphors I couldn't find. Why didn't I ever talk about, why did it take, what is this, episode 23? What did it take 23 episodes before I'm gonna dedicate my intention of this typing to the setting? I think that there's no one to blame. That's just my fault. I should have known. I have multiple episodes about characters, none about setting. Well, that is our intention for today. Settings. We're going to look at the different setting, time, space, place, and just describe how it is written, how it's presented in the story, because settings can be a little tricky to maneuver because it's a fine balance. It's a balance. You want to give the reader enough information for them to be able to visualize the scene in their head, but you don't want it to be so detailed that it slows down the plot completely. A great way to approach setting descriptions, etc., is by including it within the action that is taking place in the story, so it doesn't really diverge too far from what is actually happening, so that you can incorporate images of the setting within the action of the characters, or the dialogue of the characters, something that's actually happening in the story and not just like 5 paragraphs about a certain place. I'm just gonna let this ambulance drive by. Alright, let's start. Okay, so last time we left off, it was a hot day. Very hot day. I guess, is weather considered a setting? I think so. Maybe that's like maybe weather is just weather. Like time and place is setting, right? I'm asking you as if like we're like, I think of this relationship that we have here not as me as a teacher or instructor or expert or anything. I think of this relationship that we have as like study buddies. Like I'm like your classmate in this thing. So odds are you know as much as I do about any of this stuff. Like literally any of it. Like almost all of it. You probably know more about Great Gatsby than I do. Being that I read this book 10 years ago, haven't read it again since, saw the movie maybe like 5-6 years ago when it came out, the Leonardo DiCaprio one. Didn't see any of the other ones. Not really a Great Gatsby expert. So I don't know how this ends. So no spoilers. I do know how I vaguely remember how it ends, but I can't say what actually leads up. I don't remember the scenes or the settings. What am I trying to say? You're smart. I like you. Help me out here. Okay, so the last time we left off, it was, what happened? Well, Nick found out that Gatsby has fired all his staff, hired new staff because he wanted to keep the whole Daisy thing a secret, and now he is going to the Buchanans to have dinner, just meet up, probably party some more. They like to party. Who doesn't? Imagine, like, fan fiction idea. All right, I swear I'm gonna get to typing. I'm like talking about how little time I have because I'm wasting so much just rambling on. But fan fiction idea, Great Gatsby, but during a COVID pandemic. That's a pretty good idea. Someone write it, not me. I got too much going on. I assign you that homework. Writing prompt. Rewrite one of the scenes. Rewrite this scene that we're typing out today, but under COVID situations. That would actually be a really fun exercise. I'll read it. If you write it, please send it to me. I will read it. I don't know what I could help you do. I'll give you some exposure. I'll help you expose it. All right. This is gonna be a good one. I could feel it. So, what happened? Oh yeah, I already said they're going to a party. Nick is going to a party at the Buchanans, I think. Let's find out. And we're looking for anything to do with settings. Hall. A hall is a setting. I feel like setting things come up a lot more. Like there will be things to talk about today regarding setting. Sometimes I pick intention topics that just never appear in the story, and I'm kind of like, oh, I guess what we learned is there isn't any of it. But I feel like there's gonna be setting stuff today. Through the hall of the Buchanan's house blew a faint wind, carrying the sound of telephone bells up to Gatsby and me as we waited at the door. That's really good writing. So right away, we can notice this, that they're describing the hall, sure, a little bit, not really, but it's really the sound of the telephone that is giving the hall a purpose to be described. It's still the action. What this sentence right here could be as simple as Gatsby and I waited at the door and we heard telephone bells. Right? See, this is why people like Gatsby so much. It's because of writing like this. Right, so butler, I always love how in this book they skip through so many things, but sometimes they linger on things that I'm just like, why do we need to listen to this guy talk on the phone? creating a scene. See what's happening? It doesn't seem important, but a scene is being created. Whether it affects the plot or not, I don't know. Setting a tone is probably what it's for. That's what people will tell you. It makes it feel like, oh, we don't really know what's going on. It's creating this a bit of confusion or uncertainty as you wait. We've all been to parties where people are already in the middle of conversations and we don't know what's going on or who to talk to. And it's like, where's the host? We just want to say hi. Where do we put our coat? Someone tell me where to put my coat before I freak out, because I have social anxiety. That's sort of the feeling we're getting from this. Oh yeah, and the heat is making people feel just easily annoyed. I feel like weather should be like a setting element. I feel like it fits into the same category. To be debated. Front. Well, this is setting for sure. The room, shadowed well with awnings, was dark and cool. Daisy and Jordan lay upon an enormous couch like silver idols weighing down their own white dresses against the singing breeze of the fan. Yeah. Not too much to say that. But you sort of, you could kind of recognize how it's being approached, right? It's kind of describing what it needs to. We know that it's hot. The room is cool. Like, it's everything it needs to be. It's comfortable. And we also introduce the characters in it and how they're interacting with that setting. I think that's an important thing. How the character feel within this setting is why you need to talk about it. There's no point describing an element of the setting that doesn't really impact what the character is doing, right? You're being a little self-indulgent if you are, unless it's a really good description. Or I think it makes good foreshadowing too. If you could just describe something in the setting, like a weapon that's going to be used later on. Chekhov's gun, if Chekhov's gun was there. Okay. Nick. He's got a good sense of humor. I like this. So it's tricky having a character be sarcastic, right? I mean, it's text, so without having to add sarcastically at the end of every dialogue tag, it's tricky to do. You kind of need that character's personality established. It's like when you write a text message and you're being sarcastic and everybody thinks you're literal, and then you start a Facebook argument because of it. That happens a lot, doesn't it? People just take someone else too seriously when they're clearly making a joke online. Gatsby stood in the center of the crimson carpet. It's him standing that is describing the setting. Every sort of description of the place is motivated by a character's interaction with it, if you will. It helps. It helps. I'm going to try to find something that contradicts that. And that's what science is, right? Just finding things. You want to find things to prove you wrong. Like you make a hypothesis, and then you try to like prove the hypothesis wrong. That's experimenting. You know this. I'm going to try to do that here. My hypothesis is when you use settings in writing, it must, in this book, sorry, I need to rephrase this statement. When Fitzgerald uses writing, when Fitzgerald uses writes about settings in this book, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Ooh. Drama. Right. That's right. Sorry. Correction line, squiggly line. That's what Fitzgerald wrote. flung open the door, blocks up the space, kind of describing how big he is. That's kind of setting. A little bit of setting. That's definitely a character interacting with the setting. Perfect example of it, really. It's been so long since I had to interact with someone I dislike that you kind of have to hide it. You kind of have to be cordial. And like at a party or something, it's like, I really don't like this guy, but he's hanging out with all my friends and I gotta talk. Let's just make this happen. Just get through this and try to act polite. I have not done that in a while. I feel like I'll be out of practice when I have to go to those parties again. I might just snap. I might just start yelling at people. Ooh. It's getting intense. Imagine if I was instead of the Great Gatsby, I was typing out like 50 Shades of Grey. Might get more views actually. And I like talk about it. You know what? That's a pretty good idea. I'm full of good ideas today. 50 Shades of Grey, but during COVID times. Someone write that. I want every story, but a COVID version of it. What would be the weirdest story? Let me know in the comments below. What would be the weirdest rewrite of a classic, but with a COVID twist to it? I just literally retyped the same line over again. I was too busy thinking of my COVID stories. I'm going to clog on the brick fireplace. See, action allows you to find the setting that you need to talk about to actually slowly create the picture. It's like the characters is holding this little light and you kind of just, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It's like the character is painting, showing you the setting as they move around, so you can only see the setting that they're in. That's not a good explanation of how to write settings, but if you kind of imagine it that way, then you won't really over describe too much. You'll only focus on what the character is doing to light the setting, if you will. Wait, what happened then? She remembered the heat and sat down guiltily on the couch just as a freshly laundered nurse leading a little girl came into the room. Okay, that's actually happening. Sometimes I think it's like a metaphor or a simile, but sometimes it's like literal. What do I mean there? Oh, it's her daughter. I see. It's the first time seeing this kid. Howdy do. I'm gonna start saying howdy do. Howdy do. I'll wear a hat. I'll wear a top hat. Howdy do. That's how I'll say it. And I will get beaten up. Just get horribly assaulted on the street. Oh yeah. That's so funny. She kept looking. Oh yeah, looking. What a bomb! He's dropping bombs on this Gatsby guy. Doesn't know what to expect. Kissing him. Bringing a kid into this. It's a tough one for Gatsby. Oh, dream. I find it so hard to write about children, like how children talk, because I'm not really around them anymore. I don't really have kids. I don't interact with people I dislike that often, and I don't interact with children. Sometimes they're the same thing. Yeah, the heart. That's it. That's how we get up with the kid. Just came in here, said some nonsense. Yeah, just to make Gatsby feel awkward. That was pretty much the whole point of that. It's like, this is what you're buying. This is what you want. The whole thing, the whole package. Whole package. Gin Rickeys. I need to know what a Gin Rickey is. Gin Rickey, a Rickey, also aka, is 2 ounces of bourbon, rye whiskey, or gin. Okay, sorry, this is hard to read. 2 ounces of bourbon, rye, whiskey, or gin, half of a lemon squeezed and dropped into the glass, sparkling mineral water. Oh, I guess it's just gin. Oh, it's just, all right. Sounds refreshing. I would love one. Next episode, I'll have a Gin Rickey right here. In honor of it existing in this book. Hey, there's no, I think the book has a typo. It's missing the closing quotations. Come on, what is this? Come on, Penguin Books. No, I'm just kidding. It must be so hard editing a novel and getting it like completely pristine, like or maybe it's continuing. Does that happen when you don't actually close it and you kind of just continue? No, he suggested. Okay, come. Yeah, he's still talking. So maybe you don't need it. I don't know. Help me out here, classmate. Help me out. Let me just copy your homework. Yeah, I'm confused by that. I should know. There's so many little things, right? It's like once you figure out the big things, like how to spell there, and there, then there's all these little things that people don't care as much about, or your and your. Where am I? once again, it's the actions of the characters that is motivating the descriptions of the setting. We see the snail crawling. Do snails crawl? I don't know. Gatsby eyes looking at that, and then Gatsby looking at something across the bay. Oh. The sky, and so as the character seeing this view as opposed to just a description of the view. See, it's all being motivated. So far I'm being proven right. And it feels good. Oh yeah. Okay, I think it's a good time for a pause. Not that we did a lot of work today, but whatever. Whatever. Let's do the Fitzgerald fun fact of the day. This is the part of the show where I share a little fun fact about either the book, Great Gatsby, or about the author, F. Scott Fitzgerald. So, here's the fun fact. Listen up. Fitzgerald moved to Great Neck, Long Island, New York in October 1922. It was there that it inspired the setting of The Great Gatsby. Two things inspired him. Both the location, the two different areas. He lived in Great Neck, which inspired him to take elements of that and create West Egg, which is a neighborhood that comes from new money, which is the people living there have acquired their wealth. Meanwhile, another neighborhood, Port Washington, Long Island, New York, it inspired East Egg, which the people living there come from old money that's inherited wealth. So it's two of these neighborhoods that he lived there, and he sort of saw these people and how they got to this place. I mean, everybody there is wealthy, but even within wealthy people, there's different classes. And that's something that's being pointed out here. It's like Gatsby is this, where did he get his money from? Is he old money, new money? Where did this Tom Buchanan guy get his money from? And you sort of, there's still a hierarchy within that, right? And it's like, what do I respect? What do I value in a person? How they earn their money is almost as important as how much money they have. And that's one of the themes in this book, I believe. I shouldn't add that I believe part. I should say it confidently, as a scientist would. Do scientists say things confidently anymore? I don't know. I'm just dealing with all these personal issues. Anyways, that is the Fitzgerald fun fact of the day. Hope you enjoyed that. and it's nice when both my intention and the fun fact are linked together. They don't always, but it's nice that they're both about settings today. I didn't know I haven't talked about it yet. There's so much to talk about, really. You kind of forget how important the setting is to the story. You kind of get focused on the characters. I mean, it's called The Great Gatsby, but the setting has a big impact in the story. I think I said before that originally Fitzgerald wanted this to take place in the Midwest or something. That would have changed everything. Some things. It would have changed the tone of it for sure. Someone write that version. Someone write that, the Midwestern. I bet it exists. I'm almost confident that version exists. Sorry, I can't multitask right now. I like to be out there. Whew. That's not how they spell it. I'm just gonna leave it. It's funny. That's a metaphor for something, I'm sure. A criticism of his wife, probably. That's not what I want. Stare together. I think they started together. You always look so cool. Ever since I started growing my hair long, people have told me I look like a movie star. Just want you to know that this is what people are telling me. I think it's a compliment. Well, drama is increasing. And this would be an awkward party to be at. Okay. Should I continue? What's reading? Oh, I didn't do my 1 minute timey thing. This is all dialogue too. It's gonna be tricky. But let's do it. What the hell, right? Let's finish this episode up with that. We could always leave it in the middle if I don't feel like continuing. All right. Damn it. All right, this is the part of the show where I time myself for 1 minute and see how many words I get on the page. It's the ultimate test. Feel free to do this with me. This is also a bunch of dialogue, which might be tricky, but it might not be. I see an M dash in there. I see 2 M dashes in there. This will be hard. I think my record's 80, but I haven't even got close to that in a while. Anything around 60, I'm happy with. Let's try for 70. Let's try for 70. That's a lot to ask with this section at this tail end of this video. Let's just do it. Oh no. This is a bad start. All right. Oof. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Silence stuck. That was not that good. I know this now. I'm very well aware this is not good. It was an attempt. It's important to do it. 55, that's actually not bad. I thought it was worse. I thought it was in the 40s. When I was in high school, I entered a typing competition and I got 39. I got a certificate and everything. And I was like, this is pretty good. This is not too bad. And you look back and you're like, sad, sad little boy. You were not good at anything. You're like, wow, you're really proud of nothing. There's nothing to be proud of. That was not good. No. But you kind of think that. It's like, wow, I could do so much better now. Now that I'm a grown man. I think this is a good place to stop. I think there's some tension. It's like a cliffhanger here. Yes. I don't need to explain why I want to stop. I could just stop. This isn't even real. This isn't real work. I can stop whenever I want. Well, this was fun. Like I mentioned, the flow of these videos might change a bit in the next few weeks or so. I might have to batch a few episodes here and there, so I'm not recording them on a weekly basis. I might record them a few days apart or even tighter. I'm not going to do like 2-hour longs because I honestly don't think I have the stamina for it. This is work in a way, not real work, but an effort still is put into it. What I'm trying to say is that you might be watching an episode in the future that might have been filmed a few weeks in the past. That means if you're coming to these videos to get like updates on the news or some timely current event that is happening, timely current event, that feels redundant. For current events, don't find another source for where you get news from. Yeah, just an update, and everything else in the channel will just have to accommodate my life as I do things outside of video. I'm trying to write more. I'm trying to, I stopped drawing as much. I won't explain all the things that I want to do but don't do. Yeah, so thank you for joining me today. This was a lot of fun as always, and I'll check back in with you next week regardless of when I film this for another episode of Typing the Great Gatsby. A pleasure as always. I hope you have a safe time doing whatever you're doing, and we'll talk soon.